Rolling.
2, 1.
Cut. Yeah.
This was definitely a childhood dream, which I dreamt many years ago.
Imagine living in the middle of a forest, surrounded only by trees, animals, and peace. Building it yourself with no inheritance, no shortcuts.
Thanks to my dad, so he insisted that you should put 30% of your earnings into savings.
Savings, yeah.
So I think I strictly followed it, and that helped me.
This is Karthik and Vatsala's story. 100 kilometers away from Bangalore, on a single acre of land, while balancing a full-time job in the city, they built this farm they call home. Can you break down the costs of building this entire farm?
I had to pay a down payment. I didn't have any money. Straight away, when I got into my first job, probably I was getting paid 10,000 rupees.
We spoke about the financial decisions they took, the emotions and sacrifices behind it, and the strategy that made it possible.
Took Vatsala and me about 8 years to put this house, farm, animals, everything in place.
When we look back and then we see how far it's come, I think every penny, every emotion or time spent on the whole dream is worth it.
Their life is proof that you don't have to wait for retirement to live your dream. You just have to plan for it.
Yeah, that's Kadu estate
Yeah.
for you.
So come, let's hear their story. So right off the bat, let's start with the farm. Can we talk about your story here?
All right. So this was definitely a childhood dream, which I dreamt many years ago, probably 3 decades back, and started working towards it. So this is more a home than a farm. So I like to spend most of the time here. So we come with family here and shuttle between the city and the farm.
Yeah.
So here we have is more of my passion put in one place. And of course, Vatsala and my passion put in one place. So we love nature, we love plants, we love animals.
Yeah.
So we've got a lot of dogs, we've got horses,
Yeah.
we have some cows, and recently we added some goats. And the most recent one is a pony, which Nia wanted, so we got it. And then we have the rest of it, some rescued animals, a lot of chickens, poultry, and stuff. So you will never get bored here, right? It's not very far from Bangalore, so it's kind of 2 hours from Bangalore. So able to balance shuttle.
Yeah.
Many a time the challenge is that how do you go to both the places, travel. So far it's been good, and we're just adding, we're just growing the farm. So we planted recently about 20 saplings. We are waiting to see that how they grow, how do they stand the weather and stuff. So yeah, that's Kadu estate
Yeah.
for you.
Okay, this is fascinating. Let's now talk a little bit about the numbers here. Can you break down the costs of building this entire farm, starting from the land acquisition up till now, the maintenance aspect of it?
Interestingly, so I do put all my expenses in an Excel sheet, so then I can give you to the last minute. But I'll try and I give you a very realistic answer in terms of how much we would have spent till date.
Yeah.
I think we started with first accumulating the land, right? So see, all what you see here is not a year's job, right? It
Yeah.
took Vatsala and me about 8 years to put this house, farm, animals, everything in place. We started with searching for the land.
Okay.
I searched for about 8 to 10 years, to find a place, because I always wanted something close to nature, something close to wilderness, forest. You wake up to the jungle fowl calling. Once in a while, you hear alarm calls. So that was the criteria, right? You could buy land anywhere.
Yeah.
And we picked the place, say about 7-8 years back,
Okay.
and we wanted to ensure that we are not starting everything from the beginning. So it took a while for us to reach here. The land probably when we bought costed, so right now it has appreciated threefolds, by the way.
Okay.
So when we bought it, probably an acre costed us about 35 lakhs.
Okay.
And then came in the the construction part, the main house, what you see here.
Yeah.
Uh, probably we spent close to about 50-60 lakhs in putting up the place. It's a 1,700 to 800 square feet house. And then the add-ons, then came the horses, then came the cows, then came the goats. So we had to build a stable, we had to build a shed for the cows, and then a poultry session, kennels for the dogs so that they are secure in the night, because since we stay closer to the jungle.
Right.
I would have spent another 30-40 lakhs on that.
Okay.
And I'm sure that when you did the house tour, you would have seen some of my antique collections. They are
I did.
priceless.
Yes.
I really don't know if I can put money to some of them, and I did pay a heavy price when I accumulated all of them, and this very close to both of us. So probably it costed us say about 2 crores till now. That's what it took us to reach here.
So you've spent a little, almost 2 crores over a span of 9 years, right? Let's talk about where you got the 2 crores from. So how did you finance all of this entire process?
Yeah, so no generational wealth. So 20 years back, I came to Bangalore with nothing.
Yeah.
And I think one thing I learned very early in my life, thanks to my dad. So he insisted that you should put 30% of your savings, into 30% of your earnings into savings.
Savings, yeah.
So I think I strictly followed it, and that helped me. Once you start seeing the benefit, probably you get addicted to it, right?
Yeah.
Because you could accumulate money, and then you could just go ahead and execute your dreams. So you don't have to always look for a loan.
Yeah.
So it started 20 years back. That's how we ensured that we kept money aside to buy the land first, and then we went ahead. So the diversity, as in I started mutual funds very early, 2 decades back.
Okay.
Those days we didn't have cool apps, like your organization, but you write a check and you cancel a check, you go to a bank, you fill a form, or agent comes to you, picks it up.
Yeah.
So it was a long process, lengthy process. So at any point in time, I would ensure that 5 to 10 mutual funds are put in. So then you look forward to it, right? So you have at somewhere the back of your mind, that you have a goal, you have a destination to reach, and you're accumulating money for that. So the day comes to celebrate, the day comes you go and buy things. So I still remember buying my first bike, when I was 23. And sorry, hold on. What? Can you check on him? Yeah, it's okay. All right. So I still remember, buying my bike at 23, by saving up. So I think these are probably some of the practices, and I started very early, and that has helped where we are today. And while we speak, and I'm thinking, how do I execute my next project, and how much fund we need. So if you plan well, if you invest at the right time, at early, and I tell people that some of these things are not a project which you keep once you retire, right? So you'll have to look at that, So you need to ensure that you put a date to it, you put milestones to it, and you execute it. So my investments have been largely into mutual funds. Last 10 years, I started equity trading stocks. Again, very careful. You cannot put all your money into that, so you have to diversify, and that's something I'm very careful. There are times where I've said that, I will put money in the real estate land and see how that appreciates. And part of it, the 30% of the
Savings.
earnings which goes into savings is kind of diversified into different portfolios.
Okay.
I think that is risk-free. I mean, you can't avoid market, like we saw COVID coming in. Luckily, some of my funds, and I used it to buy the land just before the COVID, so I was lucky.
Yeah.
When the COVID happened, I invested more. I think that was the right time to buy then.
Right.
So those helped me when we got out of COVID at 22, when we started building the house. So we were able to execute the house project.
Yeah.
I think, I ensured that, the 30% of the earnings which goes into savings are diversified. It's just not into one fund.
Yeah.
So I've learned it, of course, over the last 2 decades. And there are times where I've taken risk. There are times I've lost money in the shares while trading, but I don't do intraday and stuff, and I mostly look at long term, which has helped me. So I want to be debt free, as much as possible, because banks are ready to give loans. So you will get, and you spend, then you're chasing that, right? So, and the next milestone, if I have to get there, and then the next milestone after that, let's say if I have to look at my retirement, from now on, I don't know, probably 10 years from now, so I want to completely get out, then these things, needs to be managed well. And now I think a large part of the dreams have been accomplished, and I think from now on, it's more of wealth creation in terms of retirement. How will some of these savings will help?
Yeah. Okay. And let's talk about your salary progression and your career so far. What's that been like?
Uh, I've been lucky, with my career so far. Grateful for that. When I finished my engineering and MBA, straight away when I got into my first job, probably I was getting paid 10,000 rupees. And from there till today, in the last 23 years, I have, been lucky enough to get the right roles, right bosses, right companies. So it's, if you've seen my career track, like I started as a HR executive in a company in Chennai, and then I moved on to Accenture. I spent almost a decade. Then I went on to IQVIA, the legacy Quintas. I spent about 5 years there, and currently I work for Biocon. This is my 6th year with the organization. Um, Again, I was lucky enough to get into a managerial role very early in my life, and probably started in Accenture. So I've managed larger teams that helped me, move fast in some of the places and grow.
Yeah.
Today, I manage HR globally, for the current organization I work with. And in my current company, I've been lucky to move roles within the organization.
Okay.
When I enjoy it, and we have a great leadership team. So I work with some of the senior leaders, and I help in kind of co-creating the vision of the organization. So far it's been good.
Yeah.
Touch wood.
Interesting. Okay. And now let's talk about your investments so far. Can we get a view of what your asset allocation looks like today?
Okay, so that's a tough question, but I'll try and give a simple answer.
Yeah.
The last 5 years, I've been trying to see that, if you see, real estate is definitely one place, it is kind of booming.
Yeah.
So I've tried and put in, let's say, about 30-40% of my allocation is probably in the real estate. Like I said, at any point when I want to build the retirement plans, which is your equity in all different forms,
Yeah.
probably about 40% there, and 30% is recently, last 2 years, I've tried to look at different instruments, including the gold, which is kind of the talk of the town for the last
So
6
been doing
months.
good for you.
Probably I'm trying my hands there.
Yeah.
Probably still learning.
Yeah.
Let's see how it goes. And when I get a lump sum money, and then sometimes, if you are spending, you are able to save a little extra for that month, and then I just go and look at something. And I'm also trying to play around with small caps, which normally many people don't do.
Yeah.
But again, keeping the future in mind, right? See, some of those small caps also, over a period of time, it's not a 6 months, 1 year, 12 months goal, right? If it is 3 years and 5 years, then definitely, you can take a bet on that, and that's why they're running.
Right.
So moving from large cap, mid cap to a small cap as well. So that's probably something which I'm doing. So probably 20-30%, I kind of try and invest there.
And how many times in your journey have you liquidated your mutual funds to
So,
add to your assets?
oh, okay. That I haven't kept count of it, but let me take a shot at it. The last 10 years, several times. In fact, if I go back to last 15 years, when I bought my first house 15 years back in the Bangalore, the house we live in Bangalore, I had to pay a down payment. I didn't have any money. So I could liquidate and get about 25 lakhs 15 years back
Yeah.
to pay my down payment, right? So that's the big one I started with. And then, you got to do the interiors of the house, and you got to do, and there are surprise expenses some point in time. And then recently, when we decided that we'll put up the Kadu estate, when I started taking, but every milestone, you don't have to go back and, borrow.
Yeah.
And probably the farm expenses have been pretty much from the savings. We kind of played around. Didn't borrow money to build the farm. While my first house, I did have to borrow big money, and almost 15 years is over, so we're going to be debt free. So every time you kind of take your investment, you feel a little empty. You feel like oh, the money is gone.
Yeah.
But the money is gone for the right reasons, right? So I think that is very important. I'm a great believer of living your life along with savings, right?
Guys, coffee's ready.
All right.
And as the light startled our eyes, we let go of disguise. And now
So the two of you have created such a beautiful home, but I would love to know the story so far. Where did it all begin and what this journey has been like?
It began in a campsite when I met Vatsala for the first time. So we were camping. We were camping together, and then probably after a few camps, we got together, and that's when we realized that both of us had this same dream of creating a place like this. So we sat down, then we discussed. I think we should seriously take this forward, and started 8 years back. And here we are today, still working on the farm and kind of adding more life to it.
Yeah.
When we look back and then we see how far it's come, I think every penny, every emotion or time spent on the whole dream is worth it. So I think it's very important as a couple or as an individual, to focus on what you really want
Yeah.
in life. You can have 10 hobbies, but which is the one you really want to focus on, where your heart lies or really you want to be very passionate about. It can be anything, for example.
Yeah.
Maybe it's a horse riding or simply, having your own farm to grow vegetables. But I think your goal needs to be clear. When your goal is clear, you automatically align your finances and prioritize things.
Right, absolutely. I'm curious, this lifestyle is a big commitment. You have a 9 to 5 job and you were working as well. How are you guys balancing, a lifestyle outside of just this home?
So, see, it is not easy, but obviously, we manage our time. Like, for example, Karthik has to go to work all 5 days a week. So, normally, I would pack everything up, manage what is there, what is missing, what we need to buy. For example, if we have 6 dogs over here and 3 travel with us, so I have to get meat for our dogs. So I would order, I would see how much is left, how much I have to procure, and manage it all, pack the entire vehicle, drive down to Electronic City, pick Karthik up, and then we drive down back to this place. Now we have been doing this for past 3 years, and it takes a lot of effort.
Sure.
But at the end of the day, when we come here and we enter this space, it's a whole different feeling. I don't think till now we have realized that we have together created a place like this. So
Yeah.
probably I think we'll have to sit probably one day or 1 week,
Yeah.
I don't know, to just pinch ourselves, saying that oh my god, this place that we have created is ours. So it needs effort, and also you need that kind of love towards animals or being in the farm life. It's not that we don't have Blinkit, Zepto or anything over here.
I think to add on, it's a lot of commitment, but if you enjoy what you love doing, you don't feel it. For me, I'm a strong believer of work-life harmony, right? There's no balance, it's harmony. So how can you sink in? Of course, yeah, I do drive long drives to work, go back, get back. Weekends I come here, but I look forward to this. This is a place where we come spend maximum time with all 3 of us. Our friends come over, and the 2 days, the weekends are pretty much beautiful coming here. If you are clear and if you want to put things in place, and it is doable. And together, like Vatsala said, that we balance it out.
But can you talk about your family's backgrounds?
I come from a simple remote village in Tamil Nadu, and my dad was probably the first graduate in the village, back his days. And he went on to become a banker. So, we traveled with him, across India, most of the place, and that got us exposure. But otherwise, today he's gone back to the village and he's kind of giving back to the society there. They do come and spend some time with us, with Nia, but largely they find happiness being there. So we visit them, and also we ensure that we kind of frequently visit them. They come here, they come and spend time with us in Kadu. And this is again a place where, as a family, we all get together. Sometimes my sister, her family, my brother-in-law, her sister, my co-brother, all of us come together, and we've had like amazing time, which today's world, we kind of miss.
Right. And what about your family?
See, so I lost my parents at quite an early age. So first I lost my father, and that point of time I knew I had to work my way up. So then I moved to Pune,
Okay.
both me and my sister. And initially I started, with a very low salary, and then I moved up. And in 2017 I moved to Bangalore, and I was working with Shell. So I think, it has been a long career journey for me. And after Nia was born is the time I said, I want to step back and I want to focus on a family. And I'm very glad that I did it, because when I look back now, the lifestyle that we live, it is very important that both the partners understand each other. It's not about ego game here. If I want to go back to career, I can go anytime today as Nia has grown up. But I think I find happiness in this today, that what we have created, and it takes a huge effort, as I said, to maintain everything.
True. And I want to know more about that. What kind of sacrifices did you guys make to really fulfill this dream life of yours?
Yeah, so see, initially when we met, as a new couple, you want to travel, you want to go on dates and all. But I think when we met itself, Karthik was very clear that, since we both have a common goal, let's work towards it, and let's work on our finances. So every month, we would take a corpus out of our salaries, and because both of us were working that time, so it was easier for us to, to put a sum aside. Then every year when we get bonuses, we would take that bonuses and put directly into the land which we bought, which we had the house now.
Yeah.
So I think we had a choice to probably spend it on something else, but we chose it because we knew probably if we struggle for the first 2-3 years and once we set it up, we'll get to live here. So and there are a lot of minor struggles, it's like there are probably, we wanted to have a premium car during those days, but we said no, let's stay with the second car that we have. And once we had this house completed, then we went on to buy a new car. So I think those are the things that you have to prioritize, you have to make decisions, and in that decisions you both need to be there. It really, as you say, opposite attract. I don't believe in that theory. I always believe that when you like certain things, then you work towards it.
We got a holiday home, right?
You did. You really did.
Yes, now when we leave up holiday home, it is not even that we have to think about at holiday home. We know that long weekend is coming, we will be in Kadu.
Yeah, I think it's choices is the trade-offs what you do. That was a funda, right? So to put up something like this, we did do some trade-off, and eventually over the period of time, we did manage to travel about 25 countries together.
And what about Nia's education? How are you guys managing that amidst all of this chaos?
So she goes to a school in Bangalore. So like I said, we kind of shuttle between Bangalore and the farm. So we spend like 4 or 5 days there, and then the weekends here, and sometimes her vacation, long weekends and stuff. She equally studies in the school as well as in the farm. In the farm, she learns uh, how to be empathetic, how to be grounded. A lot of these things which I don't think you can expect to learn in schools. But otherwise, she does bunk sometimes few classes, and she joins us. Vatsala manages it very well.
Yeah.
So most of the time she does not go to school on Fridays. We miss school on Fridays. And yes, at times we have not sent her to school on the entire week. But having said that, what I do is I check her books, and whatever she has missed, I try to cover it myself.
Yeah.
And I think it's very important that we are also giving her exposure in both the areas, how the city life
Yeah.
is,
True.
how it is to be in the school, and also how it is back in the village. So I think she is growing up in a very beautiful way. At least we are very happy with the way she is growing up. We can see that she is very agile. She can adapt wherever we take her.
And for somebody who dreams of this life, they're watching this podcast, what would your advice for them be?
Dream big and perseverance.
Yeah.
I think those are the two things which I would like to say. Have a clear goal in mind, work towards it, make it happen,
Yeah.
enjoy the whole process journey. It's once in a lifetime.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what would you
Yeah,
say to them?
I think it's very important to first understand the goal and where you want to be in 10 years down the line, right? And you have to start small. So probably if you want to build something like this, buy a land, search for a land, connect with the land, and then slowly start building it. Probably fence it up,
Yeah.
put some trees around, start watering them, go there more often, start
Yeah.
connecting with the land. And once you dream and put your energy and focus into it, there is nothing impossible to achieve. Yes, it is a slow process, but eventually you get there.
Yeah. Thank you so much for inviting us and hosting us.
Yeah, it was our pleasure to have you guys over.
Yeah, it was my pleasure to be here, interact with you guys, learn about your story. And I think anybody who's watching this, there's going to be a huge shift in how they perceive their dream. So thank you for being here.
Thank you.
Thank
we
you.
enjoyed the whole show. Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much.
Investment in the securities market is subject to market risks. Read all the related documents carefully before investing.